Do I have everybody's attention now?
Alright, what's up y'all? It's your boy Outlaw Black back again with another video, and I am here to give you some tips and tricks so you can get through arms race, hopefully flawlessly, but at the end of the day it is RNG, so you can't have your hopes up for too much. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. First tip of the day: when you first land, there's going to be a chest right in front of you. It doesn't matter where you land at. When you jump into that portal and you drop down, there's always going to be a chest right in front of you. Whatever you see in that chest, pick it up. I don't care what it is. Just pick it up for the time being, and this is going to lead you to have a little bit of an advantage. Mind you, it doesn't matter what weapon you pick up. All weapon rarities, types, fucking all shotguns, it doesn't even matter, right? As long as you pick up something, you should be good. If you don't have a gun in your hand, you've already lost. Second tip: when you first land, go straight to your map and try to find the closest loot room to you. A lot of people say go out further than that. Try to go like towards the edge of where your circle ends. Like there's two circles. There's the solid circle, and then there's the little stripe faded circle outside that circle. That's where the storm is going to start closing in. Make sure you try to stay within the circle you're already in so you didn't get caught lacking. Because the problem that I had trying this whole entire method out was when I would go out and try to go to loot rooms outside, like all the way outside the map, me not having any gear was always putting me at like a very big disadvantage. There would either be enemies that would just shred my shield, there would be enemies who would have cryo to slow me down. There would be too much going on my way there, so I wouldn't be prepared when I got there. So that's why I'm telling you now, if you try to find the closest loot rooms to you. Also, when you go to these loot rooms, they have like waves of enemies that you go through. I think it's probably like 2 or 3. You could run into a bunch of COV enemies. You can run into a bunch of spider ants or skags, whatever the case may be. Malawan enemies. You're gonna go through enemies of those, and towards the end, you're gonna have to fight 2 badasses. Once you beat those 2 badasses, there's gonna be the chest that's hidden behind that little green wall. It's gonna disappear. You climb back up, or you go to where that chest is, and there's going to be 2 red chests inside. You have a chance, a very high likely chance, of getting the new legendaries that come with this game mode. So you might get a plasma coil, you might get a hot foot teddy, or any of the new DLC weapons. I wouldn't bank on that though, because again, it's still RNG. But you'll always find some good stuff coming out of these red chests. Make sure that you always try to be within the vicinity of a loot room so you can get some good stuff. So if once you do that, you can go to another loot room, or while you're on your way there, you can kill enemies and not have to worry about it too much, right? Next, within the time that you're working on these loot rooms, there's going to be supply drops that drop down. It's going to be on your map. It's going to be like a parachute with a box at the end, like a little icon. It's going to let you know like, hey, supply drops are incoming. So in between the time you're jumping from loot room to loot room, you can always just go to supply drops, which have a chance to either 1, drop a vendor, or 2, drop a red chest and a just regular chest that you can open. Again, those vendors could have a chance to have a legendary in it, but they always have good weapons, but they cost money, and you already don't start with a whole lot of money as is, so you can kind of skip them. You don't really need to go to, supply drops, because if you're doing loot rooms, you're probably getting the gear you already need anyway. Speaking of gear, this is just a couple of things you should keep in mind as you're looting and going about your business. If you find any TDR pistols or TDR SMGs, please pick them up. It doesn't matter what rarity. I've beaten the final boss without using a legendary TDR pistol or a purple. You can beat the final boss with literally a white TDR pistol, a couple grenade mods, and probably like an elemental shotgun, a shock or corrosive. But yeah, the reason why I'm saying either a TDR pistol or SMG is because of the fact it has high ammo capacity. If you already maxed out the capacity by going to Marcus and Sanctuary, if you've already done that, cool. And you wouldn't run out of ammo reloading so much. You do that a lot if you use a TD or shotgun because the ammo capacity is really low. So try to pick up pistols, try to pick up TD or SMGs as you go. Also, on top of that, also look out for any shock or corrosive weapon or grenade mod. It doesn't really matter if it's a legendary or not. If it is, cool, keep it. That's going to be the next point that I'm going to make. But try to keep those, because like I said, the final boss of it, he has 2 bars before his health, like before you get to his flesh, which is the shield around him, the hack hound or whatever he is, the thing that he's riding on that you have to kill. So armor, he has a shield, and once you destroy the little dog he's riding on, then he has his flesh. Now, pretty much anything kills this dude. Explosive damage does wonders, but reloads with TDR weapons seem to get the job done at an effective rate. So make sure you just keep corrosive and shock weapons on you. Radiation does do good because damage over time. It does any like weapon that does damage over time. Pretty much makes this boss easy. But yeah, make sure you always keep a corrosive, a shock, also a radiation weapon. Incendiary, you don't really have to worry that much because if you have any of those elemental types, it's going to kill them anyway. So just keep that in mind. And also have a large enough shield so you can take damage. If you have a very small, well, average size shield, most of these enemies are going to tear right through you. Especially when you get to the final boss, where he summons other lackeys within the arena. They shooting at you, he's shooting at you. They're blowing up transformers in front of you and stuff. But just be wary, keep a good shield on you. Preferably a shield that does like absorb ammo, or a shield that has resistance to certain elemental types. But don't get too caught up in what kind of shield you need. Just know that you need a big enough shield just to maintain and survive in this whole game mode. If you do find a legendary in this game, please pick it up. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be, what's a legendary that sucks in the base game but is really good in this one? The spinner. Even though it got a buff recently, the spinner is a really good weapon within this game because of the fact that it has 2 different damage types. I picked up a spinner going against him, and I think it was like a radiation and a corrosive type. Not in the gameplay I'm showing you, but this happened like when I was running with some people, and it made the boss fight easy, like very easy. So make sure you keep that in mind. Any legendary you find, you could find one of the new legendaries that come with this game mode that you have to extract that you can't use within the game mode, which brings me to my next point. There are going to be legendaries in this game that you cannot play with. So that being said, there are little extraction points. I think they're like little arrows. If you look on your icon, they're like little small arrows on your icon. And there's also an extraction point right before the fast travel, but when you beat the boss, there's one right before the fast travel station. So go ahead and extract any new stuff. It don't matter what it is. You can get multiple, you can get a plasma coil, a Bexam, Hotfoot Teddy, any of the new ones that come out, any of the new class mods. If you see any of the new class mods, even if it's not for the one that you're using, not for the Vault Hunter that you're using, pick it up. You might need that for later. Just keep those things in mind. Also, if you do get low on ammo on your way to the boss fight, it's fine. Just stop fighting a bunch of enemies, and then once you do, get back to where you are and you get to the boss fight, right? There's a vendor right in front of where the boss drops into the arena, right? So make sure you refill your ammo. Also, this is something I have to keep in track because I'm so used to having the ammo and health regen. If you are low on ammo before you get there and you're low on health before you get there, make sure you refill health and you refill ammo, because if you don't refill health, it could be a bad time. Second winds are kind of easy to get during this boss fight because he has like his little lackeys around him to make sure that it takes time away from you and whatnot. So make sure that you refill health. It's always cool to have full health when you go into this because your shield should take up most of the damage anyway. But just remember, because we're so conditioned to these OP builds that we have for our Vault Hunters, that we forget that we don't have ways of regenerating health without having health boosters and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. Another point that I would like to make, another tip, you don't have to have a completely legendary build in this game mode. Honestly, you don't have the time. You really don't. Most of the legendaries you pick up, you can't use anyway, because most of them are the ones that you have to extract in the first place that come with this game mode. So you don't really need legendaries to beat this boss. It makes it easier, but you don't need them. So don't get so caught up to the point where you're like, I gotta have a full legendary kit before I get into this boss fight. You don't. You can literally beat this boss fight with just a TD or pistol and a couple grenades and you should be fine. But make sure like I said earlier, you have the proper elemental weapons when you go into it. Make it a little bit easier for yourself. It's not impossible to do without it, but just make it easier for yourself. Work smarter, not harder. And one of my final points, just make sure if you have like a group of people you can run this with, this makes it a whole lot faster, because you get to each loot room faster if you have a group, because they're watching each other's back, they're going through enemies quicker. But yeah, just make sure that you have like a group you could go to, and you don't have to. It's not, you can solo this. It's kind of easy to solo this, to be honest. It's just that you won't get to as many places as you want to. You won't explore the map as fast. But yeah, if you have a group, cool. It makes this whole process go so much faster. They can drop legendaries for you that they find. You can pick them up, and if it's something that you don't have already, you can extract it. Just, this is one of those game modes where you could honestly use as like a stepping stone into the main game. If you don't have all the legendaries you want, you can always just find one in this game mode and take it back. But yeah, but that pretty much sums it up. Thank you guys for watching today's video. If you found any of the tips that I provided to be helpful, please hit that like button. Subscribe for when I post another video, any Borderlands 3, any Dragon Ball FighterZ content. We're on the road to 50 subscribers, so I would appreciate it if you guys could get me there. It's one of those goals I have. If not by the end of this year, probably by the end of January is where I want to reach it. I'm trying to post 2 times a week, so probably Wednesday and Thursday. I'm trying to get myself back into the groove of things. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.